products out that are right now. One's called Proton Text. That's an SMS solution, and that's what's on AppExchange. This new app that I'm going to show you today, I created back in June, I guess, is when I put this one out. And I'm not selling it through the AppExchange. It's a little app, it's cheap, and it's not worth paying AppExchange the $2,700 to get it through security review to do so. So I'll show it to you, and if you're interested in it, it's $29 a month or $17 a month if you're a nonprofit for the whole org for all of your users. It's super cheap. Like I say, it's more of a little utility than an app. So let me share my screen. And we'll go from there.
Pat, let me know when you want me to launch the polls as well.
Will do. We're using a poll today. This is something new. So let me go ahead and present this. So today we're talking about notifications in Salesforce, and I'm going to do an overview of those. Let me step through a couple of slides, and then I'm going to do a poll of everybody that's on here. So what we're talking about is automated notifications. For really, it's a great way to boost productivity in Salesforce. Notifications keep users informed. They prompt action to be taken. They keep the work flowing, and they keep your customers informed and happy. And if you're still not exactly sure what we're talking about, so for customer notifications, this could be something like an appointment reminder from your dentist that you don't forget your appointment tomorrow at 3. A low balance on your account, invalid login attempts. We all get these all the time, right? Parts arrived and ready for pickup. Service status might be email, might be text, might be a direct message through an app. There's a lot of ways to deliver these notifications. In implementing them, I think I skipped a slide somehow. Oh, here are the internal use cases for notifications. So these are ones that you hear about all the time in the Trailhead modules. The account managers need to know when there's a high priority support case, or sales team needs to know when there's a hot lead. Team leader needs to know when they need to review some expense reports. VP of sales wants to know all the opportunities closed or won, or closed lost over $10,000. So, these are all the sort of examples that they use in Trailhead when you're building something in Process Builder or flows, that sort of thing. So those are the internal use cases. We already talked through the customer notifications. So when you go to implement these, there's kind of a process that you should step through. Somebody comes to you and says, hey, I'd like notifications to happen with this, right? So the questions you got to think through are, what's going to trigger this notification? And these are the same sorts of triggers that typically you think of for Process Builder, right? But a record was created or updated or deleted, although record deleted isn't one that you typically can use for Process Builder, although flows, I think, I don't know if that's in GA, but it's coming in flows where you can trigger something on a record being deleted. Field changes to a particular value, status changes from proposed to from qualified to negotiating or something like that, and then a notification fires off. Or there are platform events. Now, platform events, if you haven't used them, platform events are something that can be created. You create a platform event to fire at a certain time, and you can trigger those through automation, either through Process Builder or Flows or through Apex. So you fire off these platform events, and it's like a big beacon goes off and says, hey, everybody, this just happened. You can also tie into platform events from outside your org, like the printer toner cartridge is empty. When that happens, you can see that little notification on the control panel on the printer. You can also wire that in so that you get a notification in Salesforce that you need to replace that toner cartridge. So platform events are really handy ways of just saying, hey, everybody, this just happened. And then different things can be triggered by that. You can have processes and flows triggered by it, etc. So after you figure out what's going to trigger the notification, then you have to think about who's going to be notified. And how can we find that? Well, since we want to automate this, how can we find who that person is dynamically? So is that the owner of the record that changed? Or is that the manager of the owner of the record that changed? Or is that a public group? Or how are we going to decide who is being notified? Could be an individual or a group. And when you set up a process builder or a flow to send a notification, you do not want to hard code user IDs in there or specific email addresses or other personal data like phone numbers. You don't want to put that into your processor flow because guess what? Things change. Those people leave, other people come in and take over the roles, and you don't want to have to go back and recode all of those every time something changes because frankly, you'll forget. It might be, one exception to that is if you've got a queue set up, for example, and you wanted to notify that queue when something happened, when there's a hot lead over $10,000 or something, you can hard code in a queue ID because those things don't really change in an org very often. So that's one exception. So after we've determined what's going to trigger this notification and we figured out who's going to get it, then we need to think through what's the best channel or channels for that. And the way the questions you need to answer to think about which channel is, think about, is this for internal or external recipients? Are they logged into Salesforce? Not are they, not can they, but would you expect them to be logged in when they get the notification? Do they use the Salesforce mobile app? What sort of urgency is behind this? And once we send out the notification with a link to the record, will that recipient have access to that record? Do they have permissions to get to that record? So these are some of the questions that we need to think about. So at this point, now would be a good time for us to do our poll. Let me escape this. I'm going to stop my sharing for a second. And Sheba, can you run our first poll?
Absolutely, just doing so.
Okay, so which events in your org generate automated notifications?
So both the questions are there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second question would be, when you generate those notifications, which channels do you use for those?
Right. I see the results pouring in.
Okay.
And it looks like email is what the channel they use, 92% so far.
Okay.
And new leads is what, the events in your org generate automated is new leads. And that's 43%. Can you see the results, Pat?
No, can you share? I think you'll need to share your
I'll have to share the screen. Are you able to see?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I don't know how to. Right. So you see the results. Email is 93%.
Actually, I think we're on a different screen. We're on your.
Oh, you don't see the screen?
We're on your slides. I see your screen, but not the poll. Do you
Okay, I'll stop share and share again. Right. Do you see now?
It says you're starting. We got your slides.
Yeah. On top of that, there's in progress polls.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Maybe I need to end polling and then you see it. Let me do that.
Okay.
Do you see now?
Nope.
Is it
That's
on?
right. Just read us the results.
Yeah. Okay. So 94% through email, 38% through chatter, no SMS text, custom notifications, mobile notifications are tied at 13%.
Okay.
And the first question?
Yeah, the first question, what were the results?
First question is new leads is how they generate automated notifications. And then the second highest is big wins or losses.
Okay. So these are.
Third is other, and then appointment confirmations, and last is opportunity status change.
Okay, great. If you'll stop sharing, I'll share my screen again. Was there a question?
No, I was trying to unmute myself, but I was going to say
Oh,
maybe, oh, there it is.
now we can see the results.
All right. Okay. I think I had to press one button, which I didn't. Okay.
There we go. All right, great. So that's really interesting. So, and this is consistent with what I've seen in other presentations where I've asked these questions. Email is what almost everybody is using. And I have to tell you, I was recently okay boomered when I mentioned email. Email is a generational thing. And for the next generation, they're just not paying attention to email. They've got email boxes, you know, with 10,000 emails in it. There's no sense of urgency. They just don't care. They're not looking at that. Just something to consider. So let me share my screen and we'll go back into looking through these different channels.
So I had a question about that. So the way I have my chatter set up is it emails also. So would you consider that the same
Exactly.
thing?
But yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Can everybody see my screen okay? Yeah. Okay. So I built this. This is just a little notification generator. This is not my app. This is for the presentation. I just thought I would use this to talk through. Let me beef this up a little bit, make it a little bit easier to see. Okay, so what we got here is Chatter is one of those things where it works great for users and community members. So the recipients are great. And by the way, you don't have to take notes on this because I have a slide at the end that sums up all of this information. So just enjoy. So the pros and cons of Chatter. The pros are it's great for team collaboration. It generates the bell notifications. Now I'll refer to this, and that's what I'm talking about up here. Right up here, right? So when a notification shows up here in the bell, which makes no noise, which makes no sense. But anyway, I refer to those as the bell notifications. So Chatter will generate a bell notification and it can trigger email notifications. The problem with this is that you as an administrator can't control who gets their email notifications from Chatter. That's something that each user sets up in their own settings, and they can turn those off and they can digest them, or they can get one for every new post. So they've got
Hey, Pat.
control. Yeah.
Hey, Pat, this is Saurabh. Sorry. If you're sharing something else we're not seeing, I'm seeing just the Google slide deck, just so you know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me know.
Sure.
Stop share. Let's try this again. Share my screen. Okay. Now can you see my org?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks for the heads up on that. So this is this notification generator. Again, this is not my Toaster app. This is just an app that I built here so that I could demonstrate these different notification channels for this presentation. So first we're going to look at Chatter recipients, pros and cons. And again, all of this I've got in a slide at the end that I'll be able to share with you. So you'll have it all in one place. You don't have to spend your time taking notes. So the cons of with the reason you might not want to use Chatter, it's internal only with exception of, community members. It's not particularly private. Others following your feed can see your notifications. Posting in Chatter to yourself won't generate a bell notification up here, this bell notification. And so no notifications for whoever runs the flow or triggers the process. That's kind of annoying. So that's Chatter. And if I'm going to click next to generate one. And so I just generated a Chatter notification so that if I come over here, let's see, where's my Chatter window? There's Chatter. So here, Chatter, this is a notification about contact Lauren Boyle. That happened just now. Okay, so that happened. Since I sent it to myself, you'll notice that there is no notification up here. It doesn't show up there. Okay. So now let's come back here to home, and back here, I'm going to select a contact. Again, this is just for me to demonstrate these different channels. So let's look at an email notification. So email notifications are great because you can use any email address, internal, external, doesn't matter, customer, partner, anybody. It's good for internal, external recipients. It provides a lasting external document. The cons are it's likely to get ignored. It'll get lost in the inbox, and many people don't have a sense of urgency around that. So if I click next, that's going to fire off an email about Lauren Boyle. And again, if you create a record link in there, the person you send it to may or may not have access to that email. So in just a minute, I'll be getting a notification here that I received an email about that. In the meantime, let's talk about task reminders. Now, task reminders can be used for tasks, or as some of you know, a way of entering things into an activity feed is by creating a task record. By the way, it looks like I got that. Yeah, here's that email. This is a notification about contact Lauren Boyle that just came in. So that was my email. Back here to the task reminders. This works for users only. It can pop up at a specific time. That's going to pop up over here. And it requires the user to dismiss it. So there's no way for users to ignore this. And it appears no matter what page the user's on. So it's mirrored in the bell icon up here. And it will happen on a record page. It'll happen on a list view, wherever you are. If you're logged into Salesforce, you're going to get this task reminder. Now, the reasons you might not want to use it is these reminders then clutter up the activity feed for that person. And it displays only the subject, not the message of it. So let's just run one of these so that we have a better sense of what I'm talking about. If I fire this off, then suddenly, oh, I've got a bell icon up here, right? So the badge showed up here. And even before looking at that, it popped up this thing right here in front of the screen, right on top. And it requires me to dismiss it. All it says is update Lauren Boyle. If I click this, it's going to take me to the task record, which is not really where I wanted to go. Where I really wanted to go was to the contact record for Lauren. Unfortunately, when you create a task reminder, you can't control that. The target is always the task record itself. So that's one of the downsides there. So let's come back here, select our contact. And so that's task reminder. And now let's move into custom notifications. Custom notifications, you can send to individual users and to queues. You can specify users or queues when you set this up. It can appear on the bell icon up here. That's where it appears with the red badge. And it stays there until it's dismissed, even if the user's not logged in. Now, it doesn't pop up anything on the screen, but it does show the badge. And this works for desktop and mobile. Now, the downside is it's for internal recipients only. Incremental notifications only change the number displayed on the badge. What do I mean about that? So I'm going to send one of these. So I sent this custom notification here, and it showed up here. And before checking that, I'm going to send a second one. Let's say that a second custom notification comes in about something else. So you'll see that the badge changed from 1 to 2, but going from no badge to 1 badge is bright and red. But going from 2 badges to 3 badges, yeah, the number changed, but it's not really much of a visual cue up here. And so some of my customers, I'll talk to them about custom notifications, and they say, nah, it's kind of like email. They just got to the point where, they look at their users and the number here over the custom notifications is 27, and they know they're just not paying attention when that 28th one comes in. So that's one thing to be aware of. And then what shows up is this, okay? Update Lauren Boyle. You see I sent the same notification 3 times here, but the key thing is you can attach a target to this. Now, when I click on any one of these, it's going to take me to Lauren Boyle's contact record. So that's how it's better than a task reminder. Task reminder took me to the task record, and so it was an extra click to get to this contact record. With the custom notification, you can set the target, and it takes you right to the contact. Now, that's a handy thing, although in Process Builder, it's a little annoying because if you're in Process Builder and you set up a custom notification and that process is, let's say that you have the process that's being kicked off by a record change on a on an opportunity. But really what you want to do is you want to send out a notification about that sends up to the account rather than the opportunity. You can't do that in Process Builder. It will only allow you to send it to the record that triggered that process. So I built this in Flow, so you can sort of have a little bit more control over it in Flow. It's a little bit challenging to use. Right now, it's a little bit hard to use custom notifications in Flows because you have to somehow look up and figure out what the ID of that custom notification is. It's a detail I can show you in a minute. Does everybody, maybe I should take just a second here and show how to set up a custom notification. Let me go into setup. These are real handy. I like custom notifications a lot. And they're super easy to set up. Notification. In custom notifications, you just come here in custom notifications. This is new about a year ago. You click new, you give it a name, and you just say whether it's for desktop or mobile or both, and that's it. There's nothing else to set on this custom notification. And the name of the custom notification doesn't ever come up on the notification itself. It's just what you reference in this. So honestly, there's no reason in any org to have more than 3 custom notifications. One that is for desktop only, one that is for mobile only, and one is for desktop and mobile. You could use just 3. It doesn't hurt to have more than that, but cancel. Let me cancel out of this. So generic notification, mobile. So this one is mobile only, SMS received. So SMS received is one that I include in my custom package for, or in my managed package for Proton Text. So anyway, you've got these custom notifications, and then you just reference them in, let's go into Process Builder. In Process Builder, I can go in here, and I'm trying to remember if I've got any processes set up. New lead notification. So let's just look at this. Yep, this is a bell icon, right? So it uses the generic notification type, and you just specify who the recipient is, whether it's a user and a user from the record. You put it what the title is going to be, you put what the body is going to be, and then you click here, and you'll see this is where I was talking about. The target object is the lead that started this. I can't pick a different target object here. With flows, you've got a little bit more more leeway on that. Let me do a quick clone on this and show you how I would create a new one, how you bring that notification up first. So here you would just say, send custom notification. This is the default that's in Process Builder. And you come in here and you just look through the different ones that are available to you and pick out the one. So this will only show in this list the ones that you've created over there in that last setup that I showed you. Okay, so this is how you get it. You select the recipient type, a user, owner, group, queue, and then here's the notification title, the notification body, and the target for it. So it's really easy to set those up in Process Builder as long as you don't mind having it go to this. In Flow Builder, unfortunately, when you go into Flow, there's not a way of picking your notification from a list. Not yet. They're working on it. Instead, you have to specify the ID for that. And to do that is kind of tedious. You have to go into Developer Console and bring up do a circle search on it to bring up that ID. So it's a little bit tougher in Flow than in Process Builder. Okay, enough of that. Let's move on from custom notifications. If you wanted to send a mobile push notification, let me show you here. I'm going to do this as I want to open Mirror 360. I'm going to set up my phone real quick so you can see my phone as we're doing this. Mirror 360 is there. There we go. So you're now seeing my phone. And I'll just put that over here as we do this. So now let's do a mobile push notification. So I'm just going to go ahead and send this. This is good for any of your users that have the Salesforce mobile app installed and that are configured for notifications. This works outside of app notifications, so it buzzes in your pocket, right? So I do not, you'll see over here, I don't have, if I show you here, I do not have Salesforce mobile app open. Okay, but it is on my desktop here. Okay, so if I send this notification now, in just a second, we're going to get a notification over here on the phone. Takes a second to go through the telecom system. This is real handy if you've got users that are out and about in the field. Well, this will come in a minute. In the meantime, let's talk about, actually, let me just take a quick look here. Ah, there we go. It just didn't flag me. There we go. So this is a notification. So this is an update on Salesforce right here on this one. And you can see this one also came through. Yeah, every time I was sending this custom notification, it was coming to both desktop and mobile. So there we go. Now, and generating this badge. So for this one, the thing that you have to do is the user, it happens outside of the app and buzzes in your pocket, and it's high visibility and a high open rate. However, it does require the Salesforce mobile app to be installed, and you have to set up notification settings correctly, both in the Salesforce mobile app and on your phone. On your phone, in the notifications, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, you go into the system notifications and then authorize the Salesforce app to send notifications outside to your desktop or to your phone's operating system. And then within Salesforce, within the Salesforce mobile app, you have to set up the settings there to receive those custom notifications. So a couple of things you have to deal with there. It's not too bad, but it would require some instructions for your mobile users that are going to get those. All right, so let's go on to SMS text. So for SMS text, it's a good channel because you can reach contacts, leads, users, anyone really with a mobile number. And the ones that you can use, well, let me get straight to the cons here. Well, the pros are high open rate, rapid response. People do pay attention to texts, especially compared to emails. The Salesforce mobile app is not required to receive SMS text. And SMS, in case you're not clear on it, that's just regular texting, just like you would text anybody using the texting app on your phone. And it's a very popular channel, especially in North America, less so in Asia and other places where they charge the users a lot to receive texts. The cons here, it requires an SMS app on Salesforce. You can't just, there's no native way of sending this from Salesforce. So you need an SMS like Proton Text that I market, or there are other SMS apps out there, SMS Magic or 360 SMS or Mowgli. There are other SMS apps, and almost all of them allow you to send notifications via SMS. There is sort of a workaround, you may or may not know, that you can text someone using an email if you know which carrier they're on, but that's very tedious to set up. So let's just try that. So if I click next here, that should send my phone here an SMS, and we'll see that notification in a minute, probably. There we go. So it came in, it popped up, high visibility. I can open that up. I can go into my, sorry, I try to click on these things, and I go here, and there it is. So this is a notification about contact Lauren Boyle. You cannot send a link here to Lauren Boyle. You can't link to the file from this. So that's one downside of SMS. It's sort of the good and the bad about SMS is it's outside of Salesforce and it's outside of Salesforce. So finally, I want to talk to you about toast notifications. So if I go in here, for example, and create a new contact, and we'll just call this Fred Flintstone. Okay, save. I've created that. You see this green thing up here? Contact Fred Flintstone was created. That's a toast notification. Okay. That toast notification is something that happens in the browser, usually to confirm something that happened in the browser. It pops up front and center, no matter what page you're on in Salesforce, whether it's a page that's a list view or a record view or whatever it is, a home page. Now that happens natively to confirm actions that happen there in the browser. It's browser driven. If you wanted to send a toast notification that pops up on somebody's screen, and even one that requires them to dismiss it, you can't do that from Process Builder or Flow. You can't fire from a screen flow. From a screen flow, there's a I think unofficial SF has got a component that you can install and fire it from a screen flow. But if you want automated things like a thing to pop up there when there's a new lead that somebody else created, the only way you can't do that from Process Builder or Flow, because the things that happen, record changes, are server side and toasts are all client side, meaning it happens in the browser. Okay. And you may or may not know this, but right now, this browser that we're looking at, this contact, we do not have a current connection to our server. So if somebody else was logged in and changed information on Fred Flintstone's contact record, it would not be displayed here, because this is sort of a static display of information that we got a couple of minutes ago. In order to see those changes, I would have to refresh it. And when you refresh the page, then it makes another call to the server and gets that information back. So without that server to browser connection, there's no native way for a server change to generate a toast notification. The only way that it's generated is when I generate it here in the browser, and then it shows me a toast notification. So one of my clients asked me, we want those toast notifications every time there's a new lead, because we want our team, our queue of agents responding to those leads in under 2 minutes. So we want that now. We want it to show up when there's a hot lead. How can we do that? I want something that's front and center no matter what page they're on. I want something that they can't ignore, make it stay there until they dismiss it. How do I do that? Well, task notification was going to be too much clutter in the activity feed. Plus it's over at the side. Plus it doesn't link to the record. That was the main thing. Toast notifications was really where we wanted to go. And so what I did was I created Proton Toaster. And now I'm going to show you, now we're into the product demo section. So let me generate, we'll use Edna Frank for this. Okay, and a toast notification. So toast is for individual users and queues. Pros are high pop-up visibility, front and center in the browser, and you can set it, you can configure it so either it stays up there and then disappears on its own, or it stays up there until somebody has got, you can require them to dismiss it. There are 4 variants built into Lightning that are 4 different colors: green, red, yellow, and gray. And it's immediate. No matter what page they're on, it doesn't clutter the activity feed, and it conveys a sense of urgency. This is something you need to pay attention to. The cons are, it's transient. Recipients have to be logged into Salesforce to see them. If they're not logged in, they won't see it. It's desktop only. There are no toast for mobile. And the client side trigger, this is what we were talking about. These are triggered in the browser, not controllable from Process Builder or Flows until now with Process Builder. So let me show you. I'm going to pick let's see, we'll use pester, dismissible, and sticky. And by the way, these terms are not mine. These are what's built into Lightning. So let's make this first one sticky. That means it's going to stay up there until we dismiss it. and we'll pick our variant. Let's pick a variant of green, so success. And I'm going to mirror it to the bell up here. So we'll just say next. And so, boop, there it is. This is an update for contact Edna Frank. I can click this. It will take me to Edna's contact record, and it will be reflected up here in the bell as well. So I can click this, and off we go to Edna. So that's Toaster. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You can use, again, green, red, yellow, and gray. You can connect it to any target you want. You don't have to use this to generate them over here in Process Builder. All you have to do, I'm sorry, let's not do this. Let's go in here. Let's add an action. And all we're going to do is we're going to create a record. And that record is going to be a toast request. And that toast request is going to let us use a formula if we want to include information from that lead record in the message. We can figure out the recipient. You know, this can be a field reference. We're going to send this to the owner. Let's see, owner, user, and manager. Is there? Can we do that? Yeah, manager. So we're going to send it to the owner of the leads manager, and we're going to add a row for. We can either mirror it to the bell up here or not. We can affect the target record and what that target record says. So we could either include a URL or whatever we want. We can log the event if we want or ignore it. We can select the mode, and the mode here would be pester, sticky, or dismissible. And then the variant is the color, right? So variant here is the color, info, success, warning, or error. And set that up and it goes. So easy to access from either Process Builder or Flows to send those toast notifications. All right, that's it. Actually, before I stop sharing, I will show you, let me get one more slide down here. Sorry. This is, let me present this. This is that summary that I told you about, and this is in the slides. Shiva's got the URL for this and can share my slides with everybody. And so this sort of lays out the channels, the pros and cons, and recipients.
Yes, people were asking for the sharing of the slides, so I've already shared the link.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So any questions? Comments?
Yeah, I got some questions in the chat, and I can
sure
just read them out, and then people can have an open mic and ask directly as well. So from Arena, our fundraising team is using notifications for donor birthdays or anniversaries. So she's telling that, and then she was asking, can you link with mobile push?
Can you link with mobile push? Oh, can you, oh, I see. Mobile push notifications. So can you add mobile push notifications to the ones you're already doing? Yes.
Now you can have open mic and talk directly as well.
Yeah, I was just asking if, like when you get a notification, if there is a link to the record when you click on it.
Oh, with mobile notifications? Only if you built in, let's say that you were pushing to someone that does have access, that does have the Salesforce mobile app on their phone. If you put in their URL to a record, I think the Salesforce mobile app will recognize that from an SMS or from a custom notification and will reach into the app to open it, I think.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Any other questions?
So if no one else has a question, I have another one.
Sure, go for it.
So we're also looking at using Salesforce Anywhere for notifications. Like, can you talk about how it compares to all these options?
I'm no expert on Quip or so. So have they rebranded Quip as Salesforce Anywhere? Is that what we're talking about?
So it's not really Quip. It's sort of like based on Quip, but you don't have to have Quip. You don't have to buy a license. So it's actually in beta now, I think, but it's free to everyone with like a regular sales license.
Yeah, that's one of those things I keep getting emails about and keep thinking, yeah, I should probably learn about that. So I don't know. I don't know how notifications work in that.
I mean, it seemed like it had a lot of options. Yeah, it's interesting to see.
But by the way, if anybody is interested in Proton Toaster, and you can do a 2-week free trial on it, just go to protontoaster.com.
Right. There was one more question from Linda. Another downside of task reminders, you can set the time, but depending on how busy the queues in your hours are, it can be up to 2 hours after that time before the user receives it. She was asking, where do you set the rest of the parameters? I think there's a notification settings too, right?
So in a task reminder, you set the due date, and you can basically in your process set the due date to now. That's what I did in that flow where I was demonstrating it. I set the due date to now, and the due date I think is a date time. So I was able to put in now, and that's why it showed up right away. But you make a good point there, which is these are asynchronous reminders. And if you've got a lot of other stuff going on in your org, it may or may not happen now.
Also, there's something called notification settings in the setup, right?
Let's take a look there. Notification settings for, you mean for people, individuals?
So when you set up those custom notifications, then does it have to be followed by settings as well? Notification settings?
No.
And I happen to have a look at that.
Well, let me see.
Okay. Yeah.
Settings. I don't see notification settings. Oh, notification builder. I see notification delivery settings.
Right, delivery settings.
This is new. I haven't seen this.
Yeah. I got into some. Yeah, I think that's another tweaking that we need to do. Like that was a follow-up question here. Where do you set the rest of the parameters?
I'm going to have to add this to my presentation. I have not looked at this. Optimizer scan results, approvals. I don't know. Salesforce notification types, event reminders, task assignments, task reminders. I don't know. Sorry, I can't answer that question.
So I think that was it. Does anyone else have any questions? Please, you can have an open mic. One, two, three. Done. Okay. Pat, thank you so much. It was amazing. So people wanted the recordings, and I pointed them to the right direction.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll share. So next we have Jason. So Jason is a real inspiration. So I met him in my last user group meeting, and he had informational interviews with us, and after that he's been participating in our programs at kindcause.org, and then during one of the meetings he showed us his jingles, and I was tremendously impressed, and I said, okay, why not let others enjoy the same. So as a newer is coming, and he wants to inspire us with the renewal energy. And Jason, you can take it over.
Thank you.
And please introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, thank you. And so, yeah, previously I'm getting immersed into the Salesforce ecosystem. I was first learned about it at Arizona State University with the customer care team while studying sustainability. And studying sustainability, I got to see, with working with nonprofits, I saw the further applications of Salesforce. And I'm super excited about it for not only being able to help nonprofits work more efficiently, but also being able to extrapolate data and analyze data for sustainability right there, being able to be a business analyst and map stakeholders, current state analysis, future state analysis. So this requires data. What gets measured gets improved. So beyond renewable energy and just making your own org run better, that's like, you know, having an electric car or solar, great. But we need systemic change. And that's what I like about sustainability and Salesforce. And to help you remember it, I made a little jingle about it. So let's see. Okay, I'm going to share screen. Oh, wait, and also everyone, because it's going to be a jingle, a rap video here. You know, it's the purpose of this. Shiva wanted me to come into a meeting to liven things up in the meeting. Pat, your presentation was great. Loved it. You know, very, very practical with the phone notifications. Love it.
But it is time to wake up.
It's time to wake up between meetings. Exactly. Get some interactivity. So if you're presentable, turn your video on, because then if you're like dancing, moving around to it, the video will pick up on it. I think while we're going. So go ahead. This way, you know, we can be able to have some way of connecting to each other. And that's also why I had my informational interview. So I put my LinkedIn in there. Connect with me. I'd love to have an informational interview. I've been able to schedule 150 in a month. You know, it's because of all these virtual meetings, ways to connect and learn from each other. So, all right, with that said, is everybody ready?
Yes, ready to rock and roll.
Okay. Oh, wait, and also I want to see, do I have the option to make my own virtual self as well? All right, well, I'll just go. The Industrial Revolution instituted a new movement to ensue in a linear fashion. As a reaction, communities must consume. And municipalities actually casualties, sadly that is reality. The invisible hand can take from the land, but not responsibility. And now I'm thinking like Earth, you know, it is your home. Your home must be so fresh, so clean, so clean. Sustainability, I may be thoughtful, so mind me say there. Let's not take too much time, find a sight, see possibilities. Sustainability, such sustainability. I love when you choose reuse. Don't trash that, nothing is new. We are all connected too. I love problem solving. Before I had only GNU, cause we only use fossil fuels. Now we reach, teach, breathe, clean energy. Ooh, I love problem solving. Oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why. I love problem solving. Oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why. I love problem solving. Oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why. I love problem solving. Now we reach, teach, breathe, clean energy. Ooh, I love when you choose me. The Brightlight Report says we are making our mark off of the chart. Unfortunately, luckily Arizona State made the first school of sustainability. And you could be a lifesaver if you make it your major. Lead the way now, take it from me. Yeah. Learn to live with the systems of existence or end up extinct. And I'm thinking like Earth. You know, it is your home. Your home must be so fresh, so clean, so clean. Sustainability, I may be thoughtful, so mind me say there. Let's not take too much time, find a sight, see possibilities. Sustainability, so sustainability. I love when you choose reuse. Don't trash that, nothing is new. We are all connected too. I love problem solving. Before I had only GNU, cause we only use fossil fuels. Now we reach, teach, breathe, clean energy. Ooh, I love problem solving. Oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why. I love problem solving. Oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why. I love problem solving. Oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why. I love problem solving. Now we reach, teach, breathe clean energy. Ooh, I love when you choose re. Come on, bring your own back. Come on. Come on, public transit, come on. Come on, grow your garden, come on. Come on, just recycle, come on, bring your own cup, come on. Come on, carbon capture, come on. Come on, biophilia, come on, water capture, come on. I love when you choose reuse. Don't trash that, nothing is new. We are all connected too. I love problem solving. If I had only GNU, cause we only use fossil fuels. Now we reach deep, breathe clean energy. Ooh, I love problem solving. Come on, bring your own back. Come on, public transit. Come on, grow your garden. Come on, just recycle. Come on, bring your own cup. Come on, carbon capture. Come on, now we reach deep, breathe clean energy. Ooh, I love when you choose reuse. Sustainability.
Simply awesome. Awesome.
I'm
Can't
glad I
say
didn't have
enough.
to follow that.
So high energy. I love that. And extremely creative.
You're very talented, Jason.
Thank you.
But I like it the way you put it together. And it's really, really good. I love it.
Yay. So as Jason puts it, he's this J Sunny Z, right?
Yes.
That's to brighten our day, bring warmth to our hearts, all that. Good
And
stuff.
enlighten your mind. Yeah. That's really my name. Yeah, Jason E. Zeikowitz. So J Sunny Z.
J Sunny Z. Amazing. Awesome. Keep going, Jason.
Thank
We are
you.
your cheerleaders.
Jason, one more thing. I was wondering, maybe you can rap something about the COVID. Come up with the words with the COVID. The people are not obeying the rules.
Yeah. I have another one about that. Yeah. So I did do that earlier. Well, here, my YouTube channel, like this is like my past life was as a community organizer. So my YouTube name is Science Sci, the Flava Flava climate change, the Bill Nye of brilliant rhymes, the Weird Al Yankovic of climate activist, Jason Science Sci Zeikowitz. And so there I have a video talking about COVID and doing other parody songs like I wanna wash my hands and we all live in our home for quarantine. So yeah, so you can check that out on my YouTube channel as well.
I just came down from hiking, like 12 teenagers, not wearing a mask. I stopped and I told them.
Yeah, good.
And one kid is saying he's going to die in 2 years. So then other kids are laughing. COVID is all fake. That's sad.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a frustrating thing as we know, like that's what I love about the Salesforce Ohana, because you know we try to push for user adoptions with technology, and here's like user adoptions with masks. It's a tough. Actually, just earlier in the second or third meeting today, Jade can help me out with this. She's been like hanging out with me, like this is a fourth meeting together. It was a meeting about CRM from Dr. CRM, Shannon J.
Shannon
J. Gregg, who's getting her PhD in community engagement and a whole bunch of studies on user adoption with technology. So she showed us like her paper that she's going to be defending soon. So she's going to be publishing that soon. So very cool, very cool. Presley was in that too. She was asking a lot of great questions. Yeah, look at that big smile. She loved it.
Awesome, Jason. So next, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Next we have Peter. Peter, you're in. Yeah.
Honestly, after that, I don't even know what to say. That was awesome, Jason. Good stuff.
I can box for you.
Say anything less, but Pat, that was also some really cool stuff. Some very useful tools. Is everyone seeing the presentation here?
Yes, Peter, we are.
Okay, so I'm not going to be rapping, unfortunately, in this one. I did do a demo jam dance kind of wizard thing. I'm not sure if anybody was at NorCal Dreaming last year, but I was the one in the wizard outfit. Anyway, sort of a side note. So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm really looking forward to this session. It's the last of a whirlwind tour for me this week. It's number 5, I believe. So you can tell my voice, I'm starting to lose my voice. Anyway, I want to talk to you about a hot topic in the community, and it's all around data privacy. Of course, we do stuff in data privacy. That's really not the main point of the presentation here. We just want to provide best practices. So what we've seen at our customers, at other organizations, we do a lot for not-for-profits, and I'll talk a little bit about that. So it's not so much a pitch. And obviously after the session here, depending on the Q&A, I have a couple colleagues on, Saurabh and Rahul. They'll be posting links as I go through the slides. And if anyone's interested, we can actually do a demo at the end of the session. So I'm going to run about 20 minutes. Okay, so first and foremost, everyone's favorite slide. It's essentially our safe harbor statement. So this is definitely not legal advice. We're talking about data privacy regulations, which involve fines and legalities. So just need to put that out there. We're not a legal firm, and we're definitely not going to pay your fines. This is not Salesforce. So we are a Salesforce partner. We're on the AppExchange. This is just our point of view. So now that I've got the boring stuff out of the way, so just quickly on me, I'd like to say I'm growing data privacy for Salesforce tomatoes. You're not going to get the analogy unless you go to the bit.ly. I encourage you to do that and give it a read either now or later. It's not going to make sense anyway unless you read it. So I'm a Salesforce alumni, clearly, as you can see. I started Salesforce's product marketing practice here in Canada, which was a ton of fun, and got hooked. So now I'm on my second ISV, and I talked a little bit about it earlier. Absolutely love the ecosystem. All these events virtually now, but I had the pleasure of sponsoring 7 dreaming events last year and doing a whirlwind tour of the US, and embarrassing myself in a bunch of demo jams. So anyway, that's me. I'm leading up marketing here. So before we get into it, obviously, we wouldn't be here without our customers. So I need to take a second, to thank them and thank everybody in the ecosystem, because we wouldn't have these successful customers if it wasn't for everyone on this call. We're all contributing to the amazing ecosystem that is more valuable than Salesforce itself, and more than many countries' GDP. I think the last number was over $1 trillion if you broke out the ecosystem from Salesforce itself. Phenomenal. So one of the ones I'll focus on today is actually the first one, Norwegian Refugee Council. So I'll use them as an example throughout some of the slides and some of the topics, because they actually have some data. But you can see we've got a couple other good logos. I'm also very proud to mention that we joined the Pledge 1% Club, and we've selected the NRC as our donation partner of choice. We haven't announced it yet, but we're in there already. So I threw the badge on there. Real quickly, we're on the Adobe AppExchange. We're actually a Marketo partner. We do Marketing Cloud, we do Pardot too, but the MarTech stack also has Salesforce clients using Marketo for whatever reason. And of course, we're on the AppExchange. So let's get started. Why bother is the question that we most often get asked. There's 3 tracks to this topic. The first is law, right? There are lots of regulations out there, different countries, regions, and even states. GDPR in the EU, CCPA, which will be CPRA now that you find folks passed the ballot recently, LGPD in Brazil, CAN, SPAM, Castle, PAPITA, a bunch of stuff up here in Canada. Anyway, there are legal ramifications, right? And for every one of them, the main auspice is who's covered by that is where they're based, right? So I'm in Canada. If you're marketing to me or you're storing my contact information, that means you have to comply with Castle and PAPITA and a bunch of other ones. Similarly with GDPR for EU residents. Everyone here is in California. CCPA applies just because you're based there. It doesn't mean where your company's based. Doesn't matter where your company's based, where your Salesforce org is. None of that applies. It's always down to the residency of the contact, of the donor, of the volunteer. So the law, the legality, the regulation, that's the first reason why you should care. I'll talk a little bit more about that. The second, and very important, is it's the right thing to do. A lot of what we do involves privacy rights, and we can all relate to this. Whenever you fill out a form, right? Whenever you install a product and you have that end user licensing agreement, do you actually click through and read the EULA? Do you read the privacy policies for anybody you engage with, any business online? Generally not. And the reason for that is it's just legalese, right? It's not, in layman's terms, it's not something we can easily understand. And the biggest trend we're seeing in this space is people putting out a human version, right? Tell me what you're going to do with my data, right? Sheba, I want to do something with, kind cause. I'm going to fill out the form. Tell me what you're going to do, just in plain language. Of course, you need to have a link to the legalese for the privacy laws, but just come out and say it. And for the Salesforce community, that resonates very well because the core, the baseline, the foundation of Salesforce is all about trust and transparency. So that's one trend that we're definitely seeing, not just in our customers, but in everybody in the Salesforce ecosystem, which is a good thing. And then last but not least is, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, consent. Being able to set up our preferences. So, we've all done the unsubscribe, right? Unsubscribe all. And that's a problem because of irrelevant content, right? If I'm engaged with, let's say, a large organization or even a not-for-profit, that has services and products, gives me, thought leadership materials, webinars, you name it, right? I'm going to get all these emails. If I don't like one, I don't want to, that doesn't mean I automatically unsubscribe for everything, right? And that's the problem right now, is the way most organizations are set up, that's the baseline, right? So the third trend that we're seeing is setting up preferences. And I'll give you that sort of experience in a second here. So this is the scariest slide. And let me just see if I can, sorry, some of the cameras are in the way here. I just want to minimize this so I can build it out. So we love building out this slide. It's one of my favorites because, as you can see, going through the list, this is the landscape of what the world's privacy regulations look like. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can see just by looking at it, it's a mess. I mean, it's great that it's happening. Certain countries are leading the way. There are certain laggards. I'm not going to mention which ones, but there's no global standard, right? Data privacy should be a human right, and that we're working towards that. The best one so far, that's tends to be used or referred to is GDPR, because GDPR covers the entire European Union and anybody based in any of those countries. Canada, California has some. Even the US doesn't have a national standard, right? California is leading the way. So anyway, this just speaks to the fact that there's a lot of them in place now, and there's a lot of them coming, right? So CPRA just came on the ballot. People didn't know about that last year, right? Things are moving and progressing. Up here in Canada, we were one of the first countries, to put out some anti-spam legislation many moons ago. And now they're actually tabled new legislation to, they want to build out, I think, 3 new branches of the government, a central body to take complaints, and then another one to actually manage enforcement. It's all advancing, it's all transforming. And for the audience here, it's something you need to recognize. You don't need to understand each of the individual ones, because what I'm going to do is give you the tips to build the foundation in your org to be able to handle all of these at some basic level, and then future-proof your organization going forward. So that's my pitch and my scariest slide. I definitely going to go something a little bit more positive. So I talked about NRC. This customer spotlight with them, obviously, was just put out. I think it's on Facebook from the AppExchange team. I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide. Sarab is going to post a link to it if anybody wants to click on that. But I'll use the NRC in a few places as an example. You know, the Norwegian Refugee Council is not something, you know, on this side of the globe we tend to hear about. Their mission is to serve the furthest, hardest to reach people displaced by conflict. So about 1% of the world's organization is in that boat or that area, let's say, right? So the furthest to reach people displaced by conflict. That's a pretty tough mission. It's an awesome cause, and you know, amazing that someone's doing it, but it's challenging. And from a data privacy perspective, you know, when I talk to them about their story and working through this and their customer story, you know, I've heard lots of Salesforce stories. I love not-for-profits. It's near and dear to my heart. Business to business, business to consumer, you name it. You know, it tends to always be about cost and time, automating this and automating that. That's all fine and wonderful. Transformation, yes. Fourth industrial revolution, go. But when you talk to NRC, you know, data privacy is so important to them because those folks on, you know, the volunteers on the front lines, literally, if the information gets into the wrong hands, people's lives are in jeopardy. I mean, literally, that's what it comes down to. That's not a typical Salesforce story that you hear. They also do it for, you know, they use our platform for donation management and basically some of these requests, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But that core mission just blows me away. Okay. So I'm going to paint a picture for basically two parts of the foundation, if you will. There's the end user experience, the volunteer, the donor, the customer, the partner, the person outside of Salesforce, and then internal, right? The back office experience. So this is, you know, what we've built out based on our customers, obviously, but also doing research. And I think it's going to resonate fairly well. And once I paint those two pictures, I'm going to talk about the one thing in Salesforce that you can do if you're not doing already to strive to get to be able to handle these. So give me a second, and then we'll do a quiz for some swag. So let's get started. The four areas we tend to see at the foundational level are these. I'm not going to spend that much time on this because I want to paint those the two pictures which are coming up. But at the beginning, it's about building a data inventory, right? And I'll talk a little bit more about this further down, but where is the PII, the personally identifiable information, right? And where could those potentially be? In multiple places in Salesforce, and I'll get to that a little bit more specifically. The notion of request and rights automation, right? So I want to unsubscribe. How do I do that? I want to see what you have. How is it being processed? Maybe I want to take all of my information. It's like, you know, when you request a data export from LinkedIn of your information, from Facebook, that's also relevant to businesses, to nonprofits. So the rights automation. The preferences, communication, so that gets into, you know, opt-in, opt-out, the unsubscribe, Marketing Cloud, Pardot. I'll save the individual object for a little later. And then the last one, and this is fairly important, in the case of NRC is a great example. Everyone has a sandbox, right? And you play around in there. That's where you break stuff. Well, what do you need? You need data, right? So Salesforce gives you a tool to take your production data and stick it in the sandbox. Well, from a data privacy perspective, that could be an issue. If you've got a consultant, right, a third party in there, they're accessing personal information. That could be a problem, right? If they misuse it. So one important element to this whole puzzle is sandbox data masking. I'll talk a little bit about, we actually have a free pilot going on for a product specifically for that. Saurabh's on, and we can definitely do a quick demo afterwards. But let me paint the pictures. So, oh, sorry, I had the slide just for Shiva. Saurabh, if you can post a link to the Salesforce Nonprofit Trends Report. This came out last week, I think, and it's a 53-page report all around digital transformation in Salesforce's non-for-profit clients. And I skimmed through it, and I pulled out this one slide because it's fairly relevant. This is, you know, just one picture on digital maturity. The details don't really matter, but what I wanted to pull out was the fourth bar here. Personalized messages with digital communications. right? That is exactly what I talked about, right? I don't want to unsubscribe to everything. I want to be able to personalize my transactions and my marketing. So anyway, I forgot to put that slide in there. Let's get to the front end and back end experience. So this is pretty straightforward, right? You're going to have a form. Whatever form I fill out, however I engage with your organization, that's going to be some type of consent, because I'm going to have to agree that you're getting my data and whatever your terms and conditions are, right? So that's a consent form with privacy terms. There may be some element of preferences at the beginning there. And then, you know, the ability to sort of say, well, which channels do I want, right? You know, it's not just email, right? SMS, strangely, oddly enough, came up earlier, right? Social channels are big now from a marketing perspective, right? WhatsApp, Facebook, LinkedIn, Telegram, you name it, right? The new generation, the whole track about, you know, the 10,000 emails in the inbox. I think we can all relate to that. So there's a omni-channel and preference sort of management piece to that in your preference center, right? So this is basically that new front end experience that we're seeing. Some of our customers are doing this, some of them are working towards that. We see a lot of other organizations doing it, whether they're using our tool or others, it doesn't matter, whether they're doing it in manually in Salesforce with flows and Apex funds and widgets. But that is basically the front end new consent experience, as we call it. And we kind of break it into 3 areas, right? And it's so relevant for the audience here. The first 2, as I talked a lot about, it's all about transparency, right? I don't have to sell anybody on transparency. You're all in the Salesforce ecosystem, right? It's a way to win. It's a way to connect with your customers, your volunteers, your donors. It doesn't matter. That's a given. That middle layer, it's personalization, right? I want this, I don't want that. That is just basic human need, especially now in this, I don't even know what to call it, this new world. Let's just say it that way. And then the last piece is, you know, I want to be able to do things that when I want and how I want. You know, I don't have to call you. I don't want to have to, you know, be structured down to some hours or some form or, you know, I want to do it on my phone. I want to do it wherever and however I want, right? So that's basically what we're seeing as the trend for that new front end experience. So this is where it gets great for the folks on the call, because a lot of you are dealing with the things in the back end. And to facilitate that front end experience, there's a new trend that we're sort of seeing in the back end of an org. So there's an element of, I'm just going to build this out so you can see it. So if I'm having that front end experience, right? Let's say with Shiva's organization, right? I want to make a request based on regulation. What is my data? How are you processing it? Request to be forgotten, data portability, anonymization, you name it. Any of the required things by law, how do I actually do that? And this gets tricky because how do you verify that it's me, right? In a secure way. I mean, I can call you on the phone, but then you have to ask me some personal questions. You know, that's the first hurdle in the back end is, well, how do I verify this person, right? You can do it with a text. 2-factor authentication is one option. In our case, we do a secure email, so a timed email. Basically, you'll go type in your email, it'll check the org, and it'll send you a manage preferences link where you can do all the different requests and whatnot. That's one option. And then in the middle, you have to do whatever it is, right? Extract, remove, anonymize, the actual work, right? So how do you actually do that in the Salesforce org? You need proof at some level. Someone may request proof. You might have to report to, you know, a not-for-profit body, a government body, a regulator. There's a whole host of reporting requirements. And that ties into policy compliance, right? You need to be able to prove that you've complied with different policies out there and governance, right? And the 3 areas are fairly straightforward, right? So the first 2 are, you know, you really need to look towards standardizing, right? Automating the front end of this piece and the back end of this piece, which I'll talk about in a second. The middle, right, is the area where you really need to think about reporting capabilities, right? You don't want to have to waste time doing all of these things. So in the case of NRC, if you saw on the spotlight, they saved 60% time in actually handling requests to be forgotten and to be removed, because they don't have to do it manually, right? The average time to fulfill a privacy request for any company, not talking Salesforce, but just in general, excuse me, is 7 to 14 hours. Think about that, right? So I request something from your organization, and anything, right? Data deletion, anonymization, request to be forgotten. That takes that organization 7 to 14 hours, right? How many people have to go through the reports and the flows and figure this out? Multiply that, that's just one person and one request, right? So just, I don't even have to do the math. You can see the value of that. And obviously it's very error prone anyway. And then the last piece obviously is automating all of this, right? And Sarab and I went back and forth on automation should really go across the whole slide. Yes, it should, but it just didn't look as visually appealing. Anyway, so let's get into the data. And I'm just going to build this one out fairly quickly, but this speaks to, where is a person's personal information in your org, right? They come in as a lead, they convert to a contact, then they could turn to an external user, a communities user. They might be in a personal account. They might have a marketing subscription, different channels. If you're doing e-commerce, right? Custom objects. We're already up to 5 or 6 different objects that store the same contact information, the same individual's information. And this is the best thing. Salesforce came out with the individual ID, or the individual object, and it serves as the unifier, the federated identifier, right? This is the area where we provide the most value. We automate the creation of this. That's not the point. You can build it manually, and there's ways to do that. But the main message I have for everyone here is this is the best place to start to build that foundation that I talked about, both in the front end and the back end experience in your org, regardless of what you're doing, regardless if you've, have stuff in the EU, in Canada, Brazil, it doesn't matter. Everything comes down to being able to have it organized and automated in some way. And from a Salesforce perspective, I'm going to show you a fun slide here in a second. The individual ID, working towards organizing to that and then building on top of that, is by far the best way to go. This gets more interesting. So what do we have here? Let's see. Yeah, okay. Someone take a guess. How many standard objects out of the box in Salesforce relate to some form of consent? Sheba, anyone? Just take a guess.
None?
That's a new one. I haven't heard none before, but.
I don't know. Those many.
Yeah, those. Yeah, so this isn't all of them. The last count I took, there was over 25, right? So we built this one, and this is just a subset of those. And the lines that you see, those are the actual relationships between the different points of data in those different fields. I mean, nobody realizes this, right? You build this one thing, it's a total mess. And what I'm going to highlight here is, the individual object. It can bring method to this madness, right? You don't have to change everything else. You can have your marketing subscriptions. You can have all these, these different processes in legal and privacy and the web team and all that kind of, they can do all their things. But in the back end, right? The admin, the consultant, the developer, the architect, they can work towards organizing it all and still be able to fulfill those requests. But more importantly, start towards building that foundation to meeting the different regulations. There's some really good things about it. So one, most of these records don't count towards record storage. Awesome. Love Salesforce for doing that. It is API only. Obviously, you can access the API. It's just not out of the box. It's a little bit of extra effort. And it does include, most of the basic consent, subscription, and authorization objects. So there's manual ways to do this, which we'd be happy to talk to you about. And as I said, that's one of the main value propositions of our platform on Salesforce is we can help automate the creation of these objects. Okay, a couple more slides, and then we'll get to the quiz and Q&A. So just to finish off on the individual. So this is a contact, obviously, and the consent preferences piece, right? So from our perspective, right, we use all the basic stuff in Salesforce, and you can too, right? In terms of, excuse me, the channels, you know, social, SMS. You know, we actually expose these out on a simple free communities license. It looks pretty sharp. Anyway, you know, the preferences, don't track, don't do that. These are all core to being able to comply with data privacy regulations, right? So having that built in Salesforce is great, and being able to expose it in an easy way is also good. Yes, we also have to talk about Marketing Cloud and Pardot because, you know, that's part of it. And we can do Marketo, but I'm not going to talk too much about that. So before we get to the quiz, we have a ton of great stuff on our website, and I'm not your average marketer. So, you know, one of the things that I know, the best way to sell into the Salesforce ecosystem is not to sell. It's to educate, right? It's to provide value. So if you go up on our website, I should have the link in here, but this is a link to our blog. We've got some great articles on there. There's a data privacy section on our website, GDPR for Salesforce. And it gives you our opinion, frankly, mine and Saurabh's, on all the different pieces of GDPR and what the options are for you to actually do that. It doesn't always push to our product. Of course, we're going to have a feature that automates the manual thing, but it'll tell you, is this Apex? Is this a report, right? So we've got that for GDPR, we've got that for CCPA, and we have a ton of amazing stuff on the blog. Saurabh, if you have not already, since I can't see the chat, go ahead and post that link. All right, quiz time. So Saurabh's going to post a link that you see there, but the easiest way to get to the quiz is use your phone, take a picture of the QR code, or you can go to slido.com and pop in that number. I'm just going to give it 20 seconds-ish, and then I have to stop sharing and open up the quiz and run it, or else you're gonna see the answers. Okay, what I typically been doing is asking, does anybody have any issues? Does anybody need more time? Going once, going twice. Okay, let me stop the share. I'll take a look at the poll. So the poll is 3 questions, fairly straightforward if you were paying attention in my presentation. And the top prize is going to be a certification voucher for a Salesforce test or certification for $100. Second and third prize are going to be Salesforce hoodies from the Salesforce store. So let me go ahead and start the quiz. Okay, so we've got 11 people in so far, and I'm just gonna hit go. So everybody, time is essential as well as the right answer. So, okay, maybe someone just else popped in. Let me just maybe wait another second or two. Shiba, if you can, let anybody unmute. If they have any issues, just let me know.
Oh yeah, they're all, I didn't mute anyone.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna wait because I see it went to 13, now it's at 14, so we'll just give it another second. And Shiba, sorry, but you don't count, so. To participate in the quiz, obviously. Okay, we're at 15.
Or no?
Sorry?
I can still participate. You don't give me anything.
Yes, of course you can participate. We'll give you a participation badge. How's that?
Hey, yeah.
Okay, so we've got a good amount here. I think I'm going to go ahead and get it started. So, question 1. Will cloud compliance pay privacy fines? The options are never, if you buy the insurance feature, always, and yes. And there are 10 seconds left. Should probably have, like, you know, some background music just to make it a little bit more fun. Okay, so that question is closed. Let's see, the correct answer is never. As I said in the second slide, we're not a firm. We'll definitely not pay your legal fees. Okay, next question. What is the best object for consent management? Is it consent object, custom object for the win, contact point type descent, or the individual? 8 seconds remaining. 3, 2, 1, and the correct answer is the individual object. Contact point type descent is not an object, in case anybody caught that. And the last question. The best type of privacy policy is for Abby the Bobcat, aliens, humans, or Cloudy the Goat? 7 more seconds. All right. Someone picked Cloudy the Goat. I think that was Sarah Rahul. But anyway, the correct answer is humans. So let's take a look at the leaderboard. And we've got our 3 winners. So Irina, you win the certification voucher. Actually, I'll just share my screen here. Hold on. So you can see that I'm not lying. There you go. So you had the most, well, the highest score. So you're going to get the certification voucher. Shamik, if I'm pronouncing that right, and Linda both win a Salesforce hoodie. What I would ask the 3 of you to do is send me an email at Peter. I'll bring up the slide, peter@plumcloudlabs.com. Sarah might be able to post that. It'll be on the last slide. Send me an email and I'll get your information for the hoodies for the 2nd and 3rd winner. Obviously, we're a data privacy company, so I'm just going to disclose the fact we're not going to use your address or your personal information for anything other than the fulfillment of the shipment of the hoodies. And Irina, it's the same thing. We can probably do that electronically. So congratulations to the 3 winners. And what I'd like to do before I throw it back to Sheba is go back to my presentation. Here we go. So what we'd like to do now is open it up for Q&A. Oh, sorry, before we do that, I forgot to mention, there's the data masking pilot. So we do have a separate product. It's free, currently going through security review with Salesforce. You can go to that bit.ly link, sign up and actually get free access. And if anyone's interested, we'd be happy to talk to you about it right now in the Q&A. And if you're willing to stay, Sarah can definitely give you a quick demo. So Sheba, all you.
Yeah, congratulations to the winners. Of course, I didn't take it that seriously otherwise, you know. I would have been just one out of that. Not okay. So yeah, we are towards the end. I just wanted to share my screen.
Oh, go ahead. I think I'm good here. So were there any questions on the chat? If there were, Sarah probably answered them. So maybe just take a quick peek. We know we can just open it up if no one, anyone can unmute. If anybody has any questions, comments, feel free to jump in. I see one from Irina that popped in. Is the data masking pilot different from Salesforce data mask managed package for sandboxes? Sarah, that is for you.
Hey guys, this is Sarah. Yes, Irina, well, feature-wise, we do the same thing. So we have 2 products on AppExchange. One is cloud compliance, which is fairly comprehensive, does consent, data masking, data retention, portability, right to be forgotten, the whole 9 yards. And what we've done recently is we've taken out the sandbox data masking out of it and created a separate product. And we are in an early pilot and it'll be on AppExchange pretty soon. So capability-wise, actually, it's the exact same thing that the Salesforce data masking product does, except that since you're not Salesforce, it's definitely less expensive.
Does that answer the question? Oh, it does. Anyone else?
I don't have a question about this, but I do want to know about the tomato.
Well, you're going to have to read the article. I'm making out, so I love tomatoes, obviously. And that article actually got me this opportunity at Cloud Compliance. Saurabh saw my article on LinkedIn and was just blown away by it. He said, I've got to hire Peter. So it's basically an analogy between growing my tomatoes, the approach and strategy and tactics that I take, comparing that to the most common mistakes that ISVs and partners will make. That's the high level. It's a good read. It's a fun read, and clearly it worked because I got a good job out of it. So.
Right. Congrats all the winners, and thanks Peter for a lovely presentation. It was
My pleasure.
Awesome. And yeah, I'll share my screen. Do you all see my screen?
Yep, you're good.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just put these links in the chat. So just for information, certification day webinar attendees, you can go to the link. I'll put it up here in the chat. And you basically receive a coupon code for $70 of any $200 exam. And this is also applicable on any retakes. So I didn't know that, but there are also some $100 codes that you can apply towards retakes. So practically your retakes are free. So yeah, certification should be easier to take them. And then I don't know whether you know, but there's this personal portfolio on Community Cloud. I created mine. I'm putting the links. So you can benefit from these links and just save it. Basically, you can create your personal portfolio. So you have some place to send people apart from your resume to look at the things that you have done. I have created, this one is mine, SheForce Developer Edition. Yeah, and I put my knowledge sharing articles and everything. So it's very good way to share your portfolio. And then you can apply for a mentor. And if you want to get a job or a break in the ecosystem, this is a very good way to have someone to talk to and generally point to you all the resources out there. So get a mentor. I have had 2 mentors, and my first one was a B2B person, and I went to a Dreamforce party last year into the blue, and I got to meet like a whole lot of B2B giants there, and it was amazing. It was thanks to my mentor. So I would highly recommend. It's a great way to get to know the ecosystem and get some breaks. Also, the MVP nominations are open, so it's a great opportunity to choose someone of your choice as an MVP, and they can again also become your friends, the MVPs, and whoever has helped you and whoever has impressed you in the ecosystem, you should go ahead and choose them as an MVP. And also, it's a new year and Thanksgiving week, so I want to give back. If anybody wants any endorsements, any recommendations for, on their LinkedIn profile, please don't hesitate to ask me. I will be very happy to help. And also, if anyone wants to return that, I mean, give me some recommend. I would always help. It's always helpful to have more recommendations on your LinkedIn, more endorsements. It's a way for recruiters to come to your profile, right? So then, so I just wanted to share, since we have, our topic was AppExchange products. I enjoyed a couple of findings in Apsona app, and I was able to create a when I started a year back, I was struggling to send a document to a list of people where I could dynamically merge the fields, their first name, last name, date on a contract, or on any like a gift certificate or something. So I was able to do that very easily on Apsona. So if you want, you can go and see my videos it's on my portfolio site, and also here I can share the link in the chat. That would be the best way. Basically, I was able to make a certificate of appreciation for volunteers, and in the Google Docs, and keep the merge fields and insert the merge fields in the Google Docs. Then I created an email template with the merge fields, and I sent to like about 20 odd people just with a push of button. So the merge fields were populated and on the email and on the gift certificate in the Google Doc. And it was very easy method. And I think this was something I was struggling with last year, and this became easy with this app. And then the other thing I did was send a contract for signing. So again, the merge field was done in the Word document. If you go to quick parts and set the merge fields there, prepare your Word document, prepare your email template, and shoot it to say, whatever your list, the limit is 1,000 in Apsona. So you can send to 1,000 people, and with the push of button, you can actually populate your merge fields and send the contract for signing. It's a very easy process, I felt, and so I thought I'd share with you. Yeah, and that's at the end. Please feel to network and talk for a little while. We still have 10-15 minutes left.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We had ours last month. Sorry, we're ahead of the US.
Ooh. We take that personally.
I had a quick question for Peter. Peter, hey, this is Shami. So is your product compliant with all the privacy laws like GDPR, CCPA?
Great question. So I'll give you my perspective just real quickly, and then maybe Saurabh can join in. So there's no certifications right like that, right? I mean, you can't just put in a product and say you're compliant with GDPR, right? But what we do is we provide the foundation for every organization is different, right?